Some To Be Hero X content. Happy To Be Hero X Saturdays for those of you who are still sticking around after the, changing in main characters per se. We got Marcus Yell Anime calling X's true identity exposed. A lot of people are questioning, what is this guy all about? He's so mysterious. He's so omnipotent. Some people don't even know who he is. He's the rank 1 hero apparently right now in the current timeline. And every time he does a little snap of the fingers, boom, dimensions are changing. Every time we went from 3D to 2D, not every time, but take a note during the anime episodes, you will hear a against the Linling, nice arc that happened in the most recent episode, Yang Cheng versus, the OG Isol that happened. A lot of people are also saying his identity, his job, apparently he used to be some sort of streamer. I don't know how true that is, but let's go check out what he has to say.
What if the #1 hero in To Be Hero X is actually the final villain? At the minute 10 mark, X snaps his
final villain. Okay, hold up, let him cook. He does snap his fingers, and he transitions to, this is Zero, right? I think this is Zero. This is the character in, hold up, just to kind of bring you guys up to speed. If you look at To Be Hero X E-Soul PV, if you haven't seen this, basically there is a moment where E-Soul is fighting this weird person right over here, right? This guy. And a lot of people are saying this guy's name is Zero, and he used to be the OG title of X, right? The #1 hero in the past. And OG E-Soul basically defeated Zero, who went evil, and then earned the title of X, I think is the lore after this, right? So what's going on with this guy then?
The minute 10 mark, X snaps his fingers, and for a split second, we see a terrifying figure who also appears in the #9 hero E-Soul's trailer as Zero, the hero turned villain who nearly wiped out the previous top 10 heroes along with the rest.
I didn't know he wiped out the previous top 10 heroes though, but I guess the imagery does suggest something like that. Okay, so right now does the ages line up? Because X right now is supposed to be some sort of salaryman, right? Late 20s, early 30s, maybe his skincare is so good like me and he's in his early 40s. That's right, I'm in my early 40s. But this happened quite a long time ago, right? It doesn't have to be decades long ago. It could have been a couple of years ago, right? But okay.
The hero turned villain who nearly wiped out the previous top 10 heroes along with the rest of humanity. So if X is
humanity? I mean, the imagery happening during the PV looked very terrifying. And it does feel like he's some sort of omnipotent evil god that is ruling over Earth.
So if X's snap is a sign, what do you believe it's foreshadowing?
I don't know if that really makes sense or not.
What if the #1 hero?
Let's read some comments. So basically the only connecting evidence is the fact that when he snapped a finger, he goes from obviously his base mode, right? Hold up. Let's see it.
X snaps his.
That's it. Literally, this is it. The only thing is when he snapped it, he somehow became Zero for a bit. Can we really go off of that? I mean, it's just a hypothesis, right? It's what if. This isn't really a theory confirming, but more hey, what if this could be the case? Let's read some comments. I think the reason why Zero appeared at that time is because Zero is the counterpart of X. If X is the top hero and most trusted, then Zero is the most feared. Yeah, you could have some sort of parallels going on, right? Of, X is supposed to be the #1 hero and this Zero guy is supposed to be the #1 villain. Yeah, maybe. And this is less of connecting X and Zero's identity, but more these are two parallels, two sides of the same coin. He was defeated by E-Soul, blah, blah, blah. Zero is just a name the guy had. He was #1 hero in here at the time. That's true, but he turned bad. I don't personally think X is going to be a villain, but I won't deny the possibility of him becoming one to make better heroes. We know... Huh. Okay. It's one of those tropes of evil guy is actually not evil because he's trying to motivate, stronger heroes to form, and at the end of the day, oh, you thought I was a bad guy? No, I was actually doing this for the good of mankind. What if the story all leads to X turning Zero and turning Zero? What are you saying? Turning into Zero and Isol defeats him, and we find out that the that defeat him is Yang Cheng, and the story is being told. I'm not really understanding what you're saying, bro. I'm sorry that the English comprehension is not making sense to me. I personally think, we know that Isol, Dragon Boy, and seemingly Lucky Sign is connected to Zero. Really? I didn't know that either. So it looks like Zero is going to be a big plot point, although way back in the past. Yeah, Zero definitely is going to be an important plot point, which has just been kind of being under the radars of a lot of people because most people don't even know that these PVs exist, and I don't blame them, right? This shit came out, it's also in Chinese, even though you have English subs, but not everybody is so hardcore sweaty to connect the dots like that, so okay. I personally believe that the broken statue of X is more of an illusion, that no one really knows anything about him. This is true. We've seen the X PV, and people have no clue what his identity is, and because of this mysterious aura surrounding X, they give him this omnipotent powers, right? As he is the one hero who actually runs a double life and is seemingly unaffected by the perception to the public. He is a mastermind of PR management, completely hidden, identity shrouded in mystery, fans glazing him to the point where they think that he's an omnipotent god, and now he has this power to just turn everything, right? It's kind of freedom that other heroes strive for. True, everyone else is like a public image, right? Like nice, even OG Isol, right? They are all public figures, and the corporatization of this industry makes them, behave in the way that, the fans want, and that also determines their powers, and it's more like shackles, right? They're not really free. X is interesting because of his different identity, which allows him to basically just swap back and forth, right? One of the major takes we saw was what they're constantly influenced by their own believers. I think X is not going to be a villain, but his goal is to destroy all other heroes and distrust power system, because it's not a blessing, it's a curse. Okay, so he's basically here to completely revolutionize this system, the hero system. He sits at the top, and his goal is to basically uproot everything. We see this in all episodes, and he wants to change this probably because, and because of this, we can see the hero X versus top 10 heroes in the future. All right, what are you saying? The story is being told backwards, and the Isol that defeats Zero is actually Yang Cheng, and X later turns into Zero. That's what I meant. So you think that this PV, this is actually Yang Cheng? I don't know if that makes sense, because I do agree that this story is being told this is the old suit though. This is literally old Isol PV suit though, right? I do agree that the story is being told backwards. Chronologically, Nice's timeline was like the main one, right? But I don't necessarily agree that this is supposed to be Yang Cheng. But I don't know. I don't think this is Yang Cheng, man. Let's see. It could literally be his villainous counterpart, not X himself. Just as there's someone who is super strong due to confidence, there must be someone who is super strong due to fear. Yeah, again, the symbolism of two sides of the same coin. I know for sure there's foreshadowing somewhere in the show. Even the statue showing X's head being cut off could even foreshadow his death. Well, villainy is subjective when talking about a show that heroes are actors of a fake identity. I believe X is more like an anti-hero that will end the system. You know what? Of all the different comments that I've read, I actually like this one more, right? A lot of people are saying, could X be this villain? I think that basically the only connecting thing is this imagery, and I think this is more of two sides of the same coin, that for the number one hero, there's also this number one villain threat. And it's more interesting to explore this idea that X is here to just kind of stop the system. He sees how oppressing and fucked up these shackles of heroism really is. He is here behind the scenes orchestrating everything, master puppet. Like, literally beyond Unk Rock. Unk Rock is doing some Aizen level shit last episode. What if X is on a level beyond that, and he is literally, playing everybody such that the system will cease to exist, where heroes will continue to suffer from this public shackles. Anyways, that's it from me. There's a lot of other content surrounding X that I'd like to cover, so we'll probably get more on that. Shoutouts to Marcus Yell Anime. Thank you for this quick short. Here's a link to the video. Go give it a like. Check it out, and I'll see you next time.